Cheat Code. Support Strategist. By Clouds. My Head in the Clouds Not Coming Down. On AO3. Chapter 87. Anger. Has anyone seen Shinso or Ochako? Mina yelled. I can't find them anywhere. The hallway was crowded with both hero and support course students, as almost every single person currently on campus huddled together to try and find some protection. The building kept shaking like it was going to collapse, but Cementos had, so far, been pretty good at keeping things from splitting apart. He'd only be able to last for so long, though, so everyone with a shielding quirk was getting ready for action. She was too, even though she could only hope that her acid would be faster than the falling debris. But she was determined to do whatever she could. They would have evacuated if they weren't sure that whatever was going out there was 100 times worse than whatever they were going to experience. Yeah, no, going outside was not going to happen. There was a swirl of mist and everyone screamed as the entire group was suddenly consumed by purple clouds of the stuff. It was like the USJ all over again, and Mina felt the floor disappear from underneath her feet as they were teleported to a room even smaller than the hallway that they've been in before. The villains, they've gotten transported too, but Mina's surprised that they were still within the group instead of getting teleported back to the villain's base. A loud voice cut through the panic. Hello everyone, it's me, Cheat Code. Please calm down. Relentless, the students stopped pushing at each other and looked towards the speaker embedded in the wall. All Might is fighting a villain outside, and it's unsafe both for heroes and the villains to be in the main school right now. You are still at UA, just in a bomb shelter that is highly rated enough to keep you safe. If you have any other questions, please ask Nezu. Mina looked around in confusion before she realized that Nezu, Aizawa, and Todoroki, alongside what looked like a detective who hadn't been with the group before, had been teleported to relatively safety alongside them. Well, Nezu smiled. This is an interesting development. What in the world do you think you're doing? Izuku yelled at the screen. He beat All Might. You can't fight him! I have to go help her. Hitoshi paced relentlessly. I have to. He tried to go for the door, but Kirigiri portaled him back to the center of the room. No, you'll get yourself killed. Hitoshi turned to him with a glare. I have to protect her. Do you have one for all? May huffed. No. Sit down and we'll figure out a way to help her without you charging in like an idiot. What's the support gear he's wearing? Izuku murmured. It's something to strengthen his quirks or just some kind of body armor. Either way, disabling that could be deadly. Shigaraki finished. It's actually his life support. All Might did a lot of damage in their last fight. Izuku's face lit up. Even better. We'll disable his life support and give Uraraka a fighting chance. Shigaraki, I need to know everything you know about it. I'm sure you know little about the technology, but being a gamer and all. Shigaraki grinned. Yeah, I guess I'm not a complete noob. It's a bit different than a gaming system, but I know enough weak points to point out your targets. Good. Izuku ran a quick inventory to find out which of his school defenses were still functional. Let's hear it. Young Uraraka, All Might said desperately. Get away from here now. No. Ochako didn't look from All for One. This is my fight too, All Might. Ah, so the girl actually knows what it means to hold one for all. All for One laughed. Did you tell her? Or did she have to figure it out on her own? Ochako ignored a jab of anger that insulted and shifted her stance. What's important is that I'm not gonna let you hurt me or anyone else ever again. Even without eyes, the patronizing expression on his face was obvious. Oh, my child. That's what all the holders said as well. Ochako ran forward and yelled. All for One sounded almost bored. Air cannon 5 times. Ochako barely teleported out of the way in time, slowed down by having to grab All Might and getting him out of the way too. Get out of here, I can handle this. No, you can't. All for One walked towards her. You don't stand up. He was cut off as something exploded underneath him, and Ochako smiled as she realized that Izuku must be weaponizing the playing field. I think you underestimate me and my friends. You can't follow a trapper, Mineta called out. I know you're there. Spinner dropped from the ceiling and drew his katana. You're the one who killed Stain. No, Mineta lied. The heroes did. False. Hero did. Spinner shot back. And I think a traitor like you fits the description perfectly. You can't argue with it anyways. I know. He told me. Who? Mineta panicked momentarily. All for One wouldn't have betrayed him. He didn't have any reason to. Right? Stain. Spinner tapped his head. The brainwasher destroyed the walls between us, and now I can hear him perfectly. You killed him. So what if I did? Mineta huffed and grabbed the ball from his head. Killing him was so easy. So do you really think you'll stand a chance against me? Don't be ridiculous. Oh, you're not just fighting me. The building shook, and Mineta struggled to keep his footing, but Spinner just used his quirk to stick himself to the floor. He crawled forwards like a lizard, unbothered by the shaking floor, and Mineta tried to dodge, but ended up falling to the floor as another violent tremor passed through. Spinner bit Mineta's arm as he passed, and he stood up, licking the blood from his lips. You are fighting both me and Stain. Mineta felt a shock of fear rip through him as his body went stiff and fell to the floor. He had to get out of this. Sensei would save him. No. No one would save him. For the first time, it was him who was stuck, and not his prey. The building stopped shaking, and Spinner stalked forward, drawing his katana. And now, it's time for you to die. Alright, so what's next? Izuku asked. We've done the generic explosions, which should have done little damage. Explosions are only useful if they can clog up his air filters with the smoke, Shigaraki said. He's got a really high HP, but his consumption is low. If we can disable his equipment... Alright. Izuku pressed a few buttons. Smoke bombs it is. What else can I disable? That depends, Shigaraki grinned. Do you have access to tasers? All for One was not doing well. He still hadn't managed to land a single hit on that damn girl because she simply kept teleporting out of the way. She learned after the first time that she had to put All Might out of sight, so he had no idea where his nemesis was, and there was a severe lack of other hostages to use. He tried using the media's helicopters, but she had simply gotten them out of the way as well. Or, well, the people, considering that the helicopters themselves almost fell on him without anyone driving them. She couldn't match him in physical strength, but in speed and strategy, he would almost be tempted to admit she was superior. He, however, was All for One. It would have been simpler if he could just see the other enemy fighting him. He knew it was cheat code, the way the school's remained defenses were being weaponized against him made that obvious enough. But without knowing where the nuisance was, it was impossible to take them out. His air filters were already giving him issues from all the smoke in the area, and All for One was almost certain that cheat code was doing that on purpose. And if he knew about the air filter, that meant that chances were high that Tomura was with him and feeding him information. His path, follow, was simple then. He had simply had to find both his targets and one fellow sweep. It should be an easy attack for the symbol of evil. All Might's successor made another run at him and readied another attack to push her away, but she disappeared before he could even launch it. In that brief of distraction, however, little robot bugs started climbing up his legs. He went to brush them away when he was hit with a massive shock, and all of a sudden, it was much more difficult to breathe. They had fried his life support system. All right, time to stop playing around, All for One grunted. Kinetic energy times 10. Did my babies do good, Izuku? May bounced up and down. I gave the spider bots the taser marbles and put them exactly where Dust Boy said. Your babies did amazing, Mei-chan. Izuku grinned. You can already tell he's looking a little rougher and... He was cut off by Kirigiri suddenly snatching him up with a portal and dropping them all with the other students. My apologies, but that room wasn't going to be safe anymore. You did well, cheat code. But, you also may have managed to make All for One angry. I'll get your friends in All Might and get them here as well. Izuku nodded. Okay, good luck. It was around the time he disappeared that all the gathered students finally got over their shock and exploded with questions. What are the villains doing here? Are you working with the League? Your cheat code? Izuku gulped and reached for Mei's hand. This is why I hide behind a computer. Shoto stared at the man who had brought back All Might in Uraraka. The quirk was Kirigiri's, obviously, but the face, that was Shirakumo. When he saw him the first time, he had been half convinced that his eyes were playing tricks on him, but now seeing him again, he could not deny the similarities. How in the world had he ended up with the villains? Shoto glanced over at Hisashi, who seemed to be going through the same process he was. Shoto swallowed. Do you think it really... Hisashi took a deep breath. Well, there's only one way to find out. He pushed his way across the crowded room and marched straight up to Shirakumo looking alike, who was currently on the floor, playing with the cat that seemed to hang around Shigaraki and Todoroki. Shirakumo, is that you? He looked up and gave them a far too familiar smile. Hisashi! Shota, it's been forever. Yeah. Mike's voice sounded croaked. Yeah, it has. Before either of them had time to react, Mike pulled Oboro to his feet and trapped them both in a big hug. Oboro laughed and hugged them both tighter. I guess I got some explaining to do, huh? Shoto pulled away and raised an eyebrow. You think? Oboro gave a wet laugh, wiping tears from his eyes. Yeah, I mean, it's still a little fuzzy for me too, but this kid, one of your students, I'm pretty sure, he saved me and helped me break the brainwashing I was under and everything that All for One used to control me. Where did he go? Shoto looked to Hitoshi, standing with Uraraka and staring at them in shock. Do you guys know each other? Oh, yeah, I guess I was talking about you, Oboro grinned. That's the kid who saved me. Shota felt himself tear up as he put his arms around Hitoshi's shoulders. I guess then you've already met our son, Hitoshi. All for One ripped the walls apart. He could tell cheat code had been there. A technology mapping quirk let him know that the camera feeds from the front of the school were still being piped into the giant computers, until he destroyed it with a singular punch. The ceiling had been disintegrated away, so Shigaraki had been there as well, and they were gone. So Kirigiri had been there too. Though the fact that the teleporter was apparently helping the heroes was inconvenient at best. Oh well, just one more name to add to his extermination list. There was nothing left to find here, and neither All Might nor his infuriating successor had shown their faces again, so All for One stalked away, breathing heavily through his mask now that his life support had been made useless by that stupid electric attack. He was on a timer to end this fight quickly, which was quite the feat when all of his opponents were cowards. You're not a difficult man to find. All for One turned around slowly, sensing Spinner behind him. Ah, Spinner, It's nice to know that not all my forces are useless. You see, that is where you're mistaken, Spinner said. I'm no longer part of your forces. All for One scowled. Oh, really? Yes, Spinner said. My mind has been freed, and I finally see clearly. You see, heroes did not kill Stain. All for One felt a hint of annoyance. Oh. I've already disposed of your little traitor, Spinner informed him. Now it's your turn. If All for One still had eyes, he would have rolled them. I just beat All Might. You can't expect to hold a candle against me. You see, that's where you're wrong. Spinner raised his katana and ran forward. Things are only impossible if you lacked conviction. All for One sighed, ignoring the pain in his lungs as he battled the lizard away with one hand. I don't have time for these games. Get out of my way. No, Spinner growled, getting to his feet. Your time is up. He ran at All for One again, then again, and each time, All for One butted him away like it was nothing. But it wasn't. His breathing was getting more and more labored. He needed to get back to the doctor, and quickly. As much as he hated it, the best course of action would be to retreat, and then dispose of his enemies another day. How amazing. Suddenly, his body locked up and fell to the floor, knocking his head against the concrete on his way down and shattering his mask. That's the thing about conviction, Spinner said, raising his katana above All for One's neck. Much like blood, a little goes a long way. All for One winced as the katana came down. All those plans, and he didn't even enjoy the outcome. Nezu looked over the ruins of UA and sighed. We're going to have to rebuild this entire school. Perhaps we should make a few changes while we're at it. Oh my god. Tomorrow's the last episode. I'm gonna cry. I'm actually gonna cry. I'm actually starting. The tears are starting. Oh my god. Cheat Code Support Strategist by Clouds, Man in the Clouds Not Coming Down is one of my longest series ever. Series? Is it just series? Series I? What is the grammar on that? It's one of my longest series I's. It's one of my longest series. What is it pronounced? Okay, it's one of my longest series, right? It's the most longest, and I'm upset about that. It's gonna end. The fanfic that's gonna take over is a Gen fanfic. It is, hold up, I'm pulling up the information right now because I didn't have it open. Because of course I don't have it open, because when am I ever prepared? Never prepared. I am not prepared. Alright, let's see. Okay. The Language of Childhood Friends by C.J. It's Winter on AO3. Here's a summary. Bakugo, Katsuki, and Midoriya Izuku were very bored, very smart children, and now they were older. They're making it everyone's problem. Or, Bakugo and Midoriya made a secret language when they were children, and now use it as teenagers. And the one time, 1A witnesses the two talking. So it is a short, it is relatively short. It is only 6 chapters, and it is 8,603 words long. It is a genfic. One of the tags is 5+1. Love. I don't necessarily love 5+1, but it's a very interesting, thing. 5+1. I don't read it that often, but it's interesting. It is a genfic, so there's no romance. It's not like a BKDK ship, but it is BKDK friendship. Different type of ship though. It's platonic. But yeah, I'm sad. This is ending, and I'm upset. The only thing that's keeping me from full out sobbing right now is the fact that I have a cat in my lap. A little kitty cat. A little Storm. I love my Storm. I'm not gonna stop talking about Storm. So, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my social and Discord server are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.